With Tanesha and Desiree. I'm Tanesha.
And I'm Desiree.
Thanks for joining us again. Today we're going to be discussing why are so many married couples in the church finding themselves in divorce. And then on the single side, we're going to talk about why is it so difficult for single women in the church to find a relationship.
Yeah, that's tricky. That's real tricky.
Okay, we're going to start with you first because you're a single one and you're looking for somebody. So what's the problem out there?
Well, I think part of the problem is men's presence in church. If you go to most churches, it's 75%
Right.
women. And, that's when a lot of the women, they get frustrated and they don't want to date Christian men because they're not in there and they think there aren't any. When clearly there are some Christian men who may not necessarily go to church, but, something goes on and they get tired of looking and they start dating those worldly men. And they end up in all kinds of vices and things of that nature.
Okay, I was going to say that because I know for me, I've heard it said over and over and over again. I don't have to go to church to prove that I'm saved. I don't have to go to church to prove that I love the Lord. I do have a relationship with Him. I just don't want to go to church because I don't like what's going on there. So let's talk about that. Can you then find someone outside the church that is saved, that loves the Lord, and date them?
You know what? I really think there is, the Bible talks about being equally yoked.
Right.
And of course, it's referring to believers versus non-believers. But I also think that there is also a level of yoking, if you will, where you all need to be on the same level, even in God.
Okay.
And not saying that one won't, necessarily be ahead and the other one be behind, but somewhere in there, you all should be in the same vicinity.
Okay.
So if I go to church, I'm a minister and I'm at church all the time, and you say you love Lord, and I'm talking about my future, my boyfriend, whoever he is, but he's at home every Sunday, that's lopsided. And that's gonna be a problem because when I want to go to church and do different activities, you're not participating, therefore we're not really sharing each other's world.
Okay.
So I think that's where it gets a little tricky where, yeah, you can say you love the Lord, but everybody that say they love the Lord ain't necessarily saved.
Right, even the ones in church.
Exactly.
Okay, so listen, let's say this then. So you said you want to be equally yoked. That's what the Bible speaks about. So what happens?
Well, I think, like I said, I think one causes you to, depending on who's the stronger of the two, you tend to go that way. So if one who, you like to go to church all the time, but then let's say your boyfriend, he doesn't like to go to church that often and he's not that involved, he's not going to understand what you're talking about when you want to share what happened at church. So what happens is you start to gravitate a little bit more towards whatever he's doing and his interests, and then you kind of fade back and pull away. Now, God has a certain assignment for each of us.
Right.
And, depending on what it is in ministry or outside of ministry, but I think if it's the stronger one, can, kind of pull you away. So I think that's tricky. And I think that's even the case in marriage situations.
So we're not talking about...
I know, but I'm just saying,
Right,
we're talking about unequally yoked, but I'm just saying the stronger of the two tends to pull the other one, and I think that can be the problem.
So what's going on? Women are getting tired, right?
Yeah, they get
so they're
frustrated.
going back to getting the gentleman from high school, gentleman from college, whatever, and they're marrying that person.
Yes.
And then we got a whole bunch of mixed upness, I would say, going on then. So do you really fault a woman? Because I know so many times we say, well, we're getting up in age, there are certain things that we want to have. We want to have the husband, we want to have the family, we want to have the house with the white picket fence, the little dog, and all this kind of stuff. You've been in church all your life, loving the Lord, serving Him, doing everything to the best of your ability to live a life that's holy and acceptable. So what happens then?
I think that's the sad part. That's that church girl, if you will. And she gets frustrated and she goes outside. I don't think that God would have her in church serving all that time for her to just forfeit it all when she finds a man. I don't think that's in His plan. I don't think that's necessarily what He had proposed for her. I think at that point, that's when you gotta be patient. You gotta hold on and trust God that He's gonna send you a man.
Okay, so let me ask you this. You're single, patient how? Because everybody, let me not say that, not everybody, but most people, most women around your age has either been married, divorced, almost married, live with someone. I'm talking about women in the church.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Women in the church have had children out of wedlock, so forth and so on. So what do you do then? Because then it gets into, I'm running out of time. I want all of this. me and you have talked about it several times about, you know, you even adopting a child.
Right.
You know, I was like, I don't see a problem with it because to me, that's not having a child out of wedlock. So, you know, we've even talked about that. So what do you do then? You're buying houses. You're starting to do everything else that you would do in the spectrum with a couple. So tell me, how far do you go with that?
It doesn't matter where you're going in life and the different things that happen in different circumstances. The bottom line is no matter what, you're still supposed to trust God. You still believe God. You know what? Things may not be necessarily the way you know, I want them to be. Yes, I'm 40. I don't have any children. Yes, I have property or whatever. I'm just going to throw it out there since we're saying, okay, well, what's the problem? No, I'm 40. Don't have any kids. But yes, I want children and I've considered adoption. And then I had to go back and think about, do I want to adopt because I'm panicking because I don't have children? So you almost have to figure out.
Does that mean you're panicking? I don't think
to a degree I was, because it was like it was just this sense of urgency. Oh, I want to have a baby, You know what I mean? And when you do anything out in fear or outside of faith, it's sin. It's, you know, it's God's not pleased. So we got to rest and like, whoa, calm down. Just like in a period of time, I did some internet dating. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. However, again, are you doing it because you're panicking?
Can I just say something?
Go ahead, tell me.
The fact that you just threw that out right here, and I never knew that you
I didn't tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know.
I did. And then Uber got me. Oops.
Okay.
But again, you have to almost figure. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But again, figure out the spirit behind why you're doing it. Are you doing it because you're panicking? Are you doing it because you feel like, oh, I can't find a decent man in the church? Or you're like, you know, it's something. I don't think it's, you know, unlawful, if you will, to do internet dating. I think it's fine. I know some people who have gotten married. But again, why was I doing it? Was I doing it because I'm saying, God, I don't trust you, let me help you? You know, so that's what I mean when I'm saying you got to figure out why you're doing certain things. So it gets a little tricky, and I think women, no matter what your situation is, you got to learn to trust God. You got to wait. You know what I mean? And again, it may not come the way you want it or the timing. But again, bottom line.
Just because you're a minister, he might be the usher. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, we don't have to have the same position in church. But I'm saying, but can we all be there at the same time?
I'm just saying. Once again, we want to thank you for joining Conversations with Tanesha and Desiree.
Thank you.
We're so excited. Listen, to all of our mothers out there, we wish you a happy Mother's Day. Can I say what Mother's Day?
Go ahead. Say what Mother's Day. Shout out to
Happy Mother's Day, Alavita, to my mom, to all of my aunts, and to my grandmother. I love you.
Happy Mother's Day, Dolores Ford, my grandmother, my aunts. Love you.
Why do you? I don't know. But then you didn't gave her last name.
Oh, sorry.
We'll see you next week on episodes with Tanesha, on Conversation with Tanesha and Desiree. Thanks for joining us.